In a small secluded village nestled deep within the dense woods, there lived a handsome man named Lucas. Lucas had striking features and an enigmatic aura that captured the attention of every woman in the neighborhood. But despite all the attention he got, Lucas lived a solitary life far away from his neighbors in a secluded cabin deep in the heart of the forest. Lucas owned a shop in town, and every time he went to town, many women stuck around him and around his shop, hoping to win his heart. But Lucas eyed one beautiful lady, Elisa, who owned a grocery shop across his shop. But the heavy burden he carried in his heart kept him from getting too close to anyone. He was not mortal. He was a werewolf, cast by the light of the full moon to transform into a fearsome beast and roam the woods hunting for prey. It was a curse that had plagued him for years, forcing him to live a life of solitude. One fateful night, as the full moon cast its eerie glow over the forest, Lucas transformed and ventured into the forest as he always did. But this time, he came face to face with his crush, Elisa. To his surprise, Elisa did not run, but instead she stared into his piercing blue eyes, and when she reached out her hand to feel his fur, Lucas ran away, leaving Elisa behind. He was a beast, but he couldn't understand how he felt so calm in the presence of Elisa. That night, Lucas prowled the woods, and he couldn't bring himself to hunt. Instead, he found a secluded spot where he hid until dawn. When he woke up the next morning, he found himself back in his cabin, naked and disoriented. He was puzzled as to how he had gotten back to his cabin, but before he could figure that out, the aroma of beef stew pulled him to his kitchen, where he met Elisa setting up the table. He was in shock, but Elisa said, "Please sit down, you must be hungry." Lucas joined Elisa at the table, but he couldn't believe the woman he had eyed for quite some time was actually sitting next to him. Loud thoughts ran in his mind.
Does she know I am a beast?
Elisa broke the silence when she realized Lucas was uncomfortable and embarrassed around her. She said, "I am sure you must be wondering how you got home. Well, I have witnessed your transformation several times, and so every full moon I just come around to make sure you are safe and protected, and to make sure the community remains unaware of your existence." Lucas smiled, knowing that there was someone he could finally trust with his secret. As days turned into weeks, Lucas and Elisa found themselves drawn to each other, a connection like any other they had ever known before. They spent countless hours together, sharing their deepest secrets and fears. Unknown to Lucas, Elisa was on a revenge mission. She would serve Lucas food laced with poison, and as days went by, Lucas became weaker and weaker, that on the next full moon he didn't have enough strength to transform into a werewolf. Elisa watched how Lucas struggled in pain, and with tears in her eyes, she finally injected him with a wolf's bane poison and watched as he took his last breath. To make sure she had completed her mission, she buried him in a grave filled with wolf's bane. Elsa then sat down in front of the cabin, mourning the love of her life. She was heartbroken, but again she couldn't control the rage that had overpowered her. The anger she felt when she lost her brother to an unknown wolf had caught up with her. She was filled with guilt for what she had done and was unable to forgive herself. She decided to leave her village, the only place she had ever called home, and bid goodbye to the only man she had ever loved. And she disappeared into the night, never to be seen again. The end. If you've enjoyed this story this far, please do not leave without giving it a like, subscribe and share. Please consider leaving a comment in the comment section telling me whether you enjoyed the story and telling me whatever city or country you're watching me from for me to give you a shout out on the next episode of Wonder Tales by Julian.